From floor plans to 5-year plans, business to finding balance, I'm Ashley Bruggeman, an interior designer with a love for beautiful living and a belief that style and substance go hand in hand. I'm pulling back the curtain on design, resilience, and entrepreneurship. Expect real talk, refined tips, and just the right mix of polish and personality. So pour something sweet and join me for a thoughtful conversation with a generous helping of charm and circumstance. From styled rooms to real-life strategy, I'm Ashley Bruggeman, and this is Charm and Circumstance. I'm an interior designer, business owner, and firm believer that beautiful spaces and a meaningful life go hand in hand. In today's episode, we are going to talk about common interior design mistakes and how to avoid them. And the best part is I'm joined by Alexis Frost Huff, a fellow interior designer whom I respect greatly. So whether you're working with a designer or tackling a space on your own, these are the things we see trip people up over and over again. And a few tweaks can make all the difference. So before we finish the episode, we're going to share the top 5 design blunders that make us cringe. So you're going to want to stick around for that. Hey, Alexis, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. I greatly admire your skill set as an interior designer.
You're very sweet. The feeling is mutual.
Oh, thanks. And I think that's how is that how we first met? Were we decorating a Christmas tree?
Yes.
For
Holiday Market.
Yeah.
For Junior League.
And we both were tasked with putting all the decorations on a million trees, maybe.
1,000,000 trees.
And it came up that we were both interior designers.
And we
were
should probably do this maybe together sometime.
Yeah.
So here
that's
we are.
Right. I forgot about that. Yeah. We were kind of problem solving and maybe going behind some other people and trying to improve the situation.
Mm-hmm. Stretching our limits.
Yes. Oh. As we talk about fun mistakes that we commonly see in interior design, there are plenty, of course, and this is not meant to hurt anyone's feelings or be judgmental in any way. We've made plenty of our own mistakes, of course, but I thought this episode would be helpful for anyone who is looking to kind of tackle things themselves or look for solutions to problems that they know they already have. So we will address the first one here, looking at Instagram and Pinterest and thinking that what is before your eyes is exactly what you should do. So it's designing for a magazine photo, really, instead of designing for your real life, your lifestyle, all of the actual functional needs that pertain to you and, say, the 4 rambunctious children that you have or the 2 shedding dogs. So a space can be stunning, but if it doesn't work for your daily life, what's the point, right? You need to prioritize the function before you fall in love with finishes. There's this sofa that I saw in this amazing crushed velvet fabric. It's a light blue. I'm still a little obsessed with it. But I found out that this particular cotton fabric in this crushed velvet is not durable whatsoever. And I do have, even though it's a small dog, a dog that definitely is going to be on the sofa. And so I have had to give up my dreams of this particular sofa because it's just pretty to look at, but not pretty to use.
Most of the furniture in my house now, with my current situation and teens, there are beloved pieces, but for instance, a sectional sofa, not necessarily the top of my list for interior design wins, but for a family of 5 and 3 kids, one who's 6, 7, the other 2, they're all teenagers. So to eat and actually live on something that I'm not going to cringe every time someone looks at wrong, that's where I am. So
right. And is it like the extra deep sectional?
It really is. Yeah, you can't get up once you sit down.
Oh, yeah, I bet. Oh, goodness. Do they eat on the sofa too?
They do.
Nice.
Which, I mean, you have to think this is my lifestyle,
Right.
present day.
Right.
One day, I won't have teenagers or maybe kids, lunching on the sofa.
No,
But
you'll have grandkids.
perhaps, yeah, right? Maybe we'll have a basement by then.
Yes.
So dreams.
Yes, exactly. Goals. Right
Goals.
there. That is
Hashtag.
perfectly. Yeah. So in thinking through routines in your day, I think you really have to think through like details, like where do your kids dump their backpacks, or where do you typically charge your devices, or when you have guests over, where do you lead them, where do you prefer to sit, and if that is in the front living room and it's pretty common that you might have dishes piled up in the kitchen from last night or from making lunches that morning or whatever it is, how can we get that out of view from that front living room that you want to use to entertain later that evening? Details like that, so helpful. So I know I have a client that once requested some grass cloth wallpaper, of course, because she loved the aesthetics of it. I mean, who doesn't?
Beautiful.
And she has 3 young children who like to do handstands up against the wall. So there are literal shoe like scuffs on her walls. That was a new one for me, but I know it's probably a common thing.
Right.
So the handstands have to stop, number one, regardless of what wallpaper we're getting. There is no wallpaper that's going to handle that well. We definitely aren't going to be able to do some real grass cloth wallpaper in this house, though.
You'll get some extra texture with that.
Yes. Yes. That's a very personalized custom grass cloth wallpaper at that point. So we ended up going with a vinyl wallpaper textured to look like the grass cloth. So, it's just the version that best suits that client's lifestyle with getting as close to the aesthetics as possible, right?
Agree. And you have to be able to live within your space comfortably and without worrying about every move somebody makes.
Right. Because it's going to get destroyed. It's going to get used.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got to live there. All right, so then one of the banes of my existence too is matching everything. We'll just call this too much of a good thing. So furniture stores and retailers do this, to package up a bigger sell.
A suite.
Yes. With matching bedside tables and headboard and dresser and chest and jewelry thing. I don't even know what that would be. You could maybe even throw in some matching chairs and then a rug that completely matches the bedspread and the window treatments. We don't ever, 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 ever want to do this.
No, there is an ease to it, right? You go in and you buy one suite or package, and there you go. You have a room,
Check,
right?
check.
Check, check, and check. And I didn't even have to think about it.
Right. There is a lot of value in mixing materials and finishes. We want that extra texture and depth created. We do not want to combine the same pattern over and over again, or even the same exact 2 patterns constantly. We don't need the exact same wood finish repeated through everything, or even the exact same, design with same hardware, just all of those details. Mixing it up makes it look much more intentional, as opposed to it looking exactly like what you did. Walk into a store, picked out a complete package, and installed it in your home. So another easy way to really help with this kind of issue is using antiques and vintage pieces or collected items. That really helps to break up any sort of packages or matching situation that you may have going on. And then, of course, the extras of lighting and art and accessories can help to break up those types of things as well. Good design feels evolved, not ordered from one catalog. Do you remember the bedroom suits that we had in the 80s that were, I don't even know what they're called or who the manufacturer was, that white wood
Yes.
with like the gold handles and like trim painted around it?
I do.
Yeah, that was, I think all of us had the exact same furniture.
In fact, I think I still have it.
Do
it's
you?
just in different places, spread among households. My mom, myself, and probably on the cusp of being turned away. But yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I used to rearrange that furniture all the time, but yeah, I think I had the matching. I had a canopy bed. I think the dresser with the matching mirror.
Yes.
Don't do that either, and the matching chest.
Right. All in one.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's another good point too. If you have the dresser that has like the attached mirror behind it, we don't have to do that anymore.
No, there's no need, right? I had the day bed with the trundle.
Yes.
So versatile,
Yes.
compact. That along with like the side table / bookcase that you could attach the hutch or you could remove the hutch. I think I had a lingerie chest too. That's a little premature for a teenager, but all those things that you can take to every single room and it'll look exactly the same.
Just throw up a border on the wall and you're good to go.
Love it. Little stamp. Faux finish.
Okay, so if you do have that dresser with the attached mirror, I'm going to say detach the mirror and maybe just sell that on Facebook.
Move on with your life.
Get an individual mirror that you can hang on the wall alone, above that dresser. If you want a mirror above the dresser, you also don't have to have a mirror above the dresser and just use the bathroom mirror. But
very true.
Okay.
So I guess speaking to the bedroom suites, suit, what have you, is the bedroom textiles, which goes into the comforter sets.
Oh yes.
Matching shams.
Yes.
Complimentary bed pillow, maybe in the shape of a moon or a flower. Depending on what era you're from, that's something too that speaks to being probably simplified a bit, but then shaken up. A variety of the matchy match.
Yes, the comforter and sheet sets that coordinate, where you have like the comforter and then the shams in one pattern, and then they might even be reversible. And then you have the sheets and some other shams or the throw pillows in that secondary, usually floral pattern.
Yes.
I'm like literally picturing something I think that I grew up with.
Oh, no, me for sure. I had a floral, I believe it was Laura Ashley.
I was about to say.
It was floral on one side with a nice plaid on the other.
Oh, yeah, very
a
versatile.
Dusty rose.
Of course.
With a ruffle.
Some mauve in there.
Which, no shame. No shame.
Oh, yeah, the bed skirt was part of it too, for sure.
Yes.
So the remedy for this one is do not buy all this stuff together in a package. Number one, that's going to be your first win there. You can have, of course, the down comforter with the duvet cover over it.
Easy to switch out.
Yeah, and even, just go solid white. And I have always had a solid white duvet cover with a young child, with a dog, all the
Clorox,
things.
Bleach.
Exactly. That's the best thing is you can just always wash it and you're not stuck with a color. I think white bedding is just like probably the easiest, most versatile, and it's going to look classy.
Yeah, it's classic, and you can also switch it up on your mood. So you kind of save your money in the long run because you can mix it up with a couple of pillows, a couple of different shams, blanket.
Yeah. Throws. You can throw any color in with it. So then you've got a quilt. You could do that in any color you want. So you're buying that separately underneath that duvet cover. Then, of course, you've got your sheet set options and then the different pillows, which I will say nowadays there are plenty of options, I think, for better purchases than maybe what was available in the 80s and 90s.
Agree.
To where you can really coordinate those buying retail. The next topic, the lighting letdown. And I actually also have another podcast episode just on lighting. It's titled Lighting 101, and I will link it in the show notes as well. And it's hopefully everything that you never realized but need to know about lighting in your home. So the big mistake here with lighting is relying solely on overhead lighting. So if you think of a builder spec house, they do, I think nowadays, throw in some more pendants, possibly a chandelier or two, maybe as you walk in the front door there in the foyer space, and then one over the dining room table. But other than that, that's all you're getting as far as lighting. So we do not want to solely rely on those things. Overhead lighting, oh my gosh, I cannot stand it. Like
Same.
right now, we are sitting in a podcast studio that has fluorescent tubes.
We're in a showcase.
Yes.
We are definitely in a showcase.
Or Walmart.
Or Walmart.
Yeah.
Or in one of those hideous dressing rooms.
Yes.
Trying to look good in a swimsuit.
I've never understood. I actually had that conversation, funny that you say that, with, I think it was a salesperson at Ann Taylor about a number of things, but I just want to put like a little thing out there in case you happen to be a designer listening to this and you work for these retailers. Let's talk about how you could improve your bottom line drastically by improving your dressing rooms.
Maybe a dimmer.
Yes. Let's warm up the light.
A candle. A soft candle.
A soft candle would be better than what's going on. So number one, they're the most like the hottest spaces. Yes. The temperature is always terrible. Like I'm sweating.
It's either hot or extremely cold to where you don't want to try anything on.
Yes, exactly. So if you're physically uncomfortable temperature-wise, you're not going to last trying these things on. You're going to be in a bad mood and you're less likely to purchase it.
Agree.
Number two, now you add the lighting to it. So they're only down lighting, which means it's just terrible. Even if it was like 2,700 Kelvin.
Center stage.
Yeah.
Large mirror.
Cellulite everywhere.
Cold lights.
Yeah. Stretch marks. You see it all.
You see it all.
Every wrinkle, every
Lack of tan.
imperfection. Yeah. So we really need to address these things, and it would be addressed with sconces or lower placed lighting and warmer temperatures on the lighting. So if that's you, I really hope they're listening.
I do too. I hope you get a sponsorship.
Yes.
We're happy to come in and consult.
Yes.
For an outfit.
Yeah. Or a few. Yeah.
Or a few.
Yeah.
I think lighting is probably one of the most underestimated tools or aspects of a space.
But it is a tool, right? It's an absolute, such a huge part of design because it changes the colors and it changes emotions.
It really does.
It changes human behavior, to be honest. So it's a really big deal. And it can make you more tired. It can give you energy. There is a lot of power when it comes to lighting. But here, the point is, with just overhead lighting, you are missing so much opportunity. And this is a pretty simple thing that you can resolve in any house. So you would resolve it by, you want to incorporate 3 layers of lighting. And so those are called ambient, task, and accent lighting. So the ambient lighting is, generally speaking, that overhead lighting. So it's just washing the space. And that is just to not have it's really just the opposite of darkness, and it doesn't achieve anything beyond that. We're just purely functional there. So then the task lighting is going to be specific into where you are doing things, certain behaviors around your house. So whether you're cooking or you're reading a book, you are going to direct light specifically at those actions. So under counter lighting, reading lamps, different things like that. And then the super fun one, and what really makes all of the magic happen, is the accent lighting. And so that is the wall sconces and the art light. And that's what makes the space just really light up and, no pun intended, glow, to bring it alive and really have that multi-dimensional effect.
And it can also showcase the things that you're passionate about.
Yes.
Or pieces that you've collected.
Yes.
Which, again, makes it more personal in your space.
And it adds a lot more depth to the room too. So whatever like the focal point in the room is, if it was a mantle or a piece of art, whatever it is, if you're flanking it with sconces, or you do have, an art light installed above it, or even art lights installed above bookcases, that are just shining down on that. Like, oh my gosh, it just makes the biggest difference. And now you don't even have to go to the expense of getting the hardwired ones, which, I mean, I'm going to be honest, those do look better. So if you can afford to go that route, you do want to get the real deal and have them hardwired. And then that means that you're operating them with a switch on the wall.
Agree.
But if you cannot do that, then there are plenty of options now. I mean, even on Amazon, to be honest, where you can get the battery operated.
Oh, totally
right?
guilty
Yeah.
over here.
Yeah.
Just rechargeable light bulbs now. And those can be placed anywhere, so you don't have to worry about a hard wire. And of course, the gallery lighting too can be really convenient.
Yes.
It also functions pretty well. Again, I like the hard wire, but
Yeah.
I am guilty of the Amazon purchases.
Me too. I've got both. I've got a mix of both.
And they look good.
And that's totally normal.
And those can also be a decorative, add to the decorative accents in your room. So an accessory, more or less.
It's the jewelry of the room. So another tip regarding lighting as well, I did mention Kelvin. And again, this is referenced in that other lighting podcast episode that I did. Lighting temperature, the warm or the cool temperatures, like the blues and the warmer yellow colors of a light bulb, are actually referred to as Kelvin. That is the temperature of the light, and the lower the number, the warmer it is. So 2700 Kelvin is, I think, typically the warmest available. And when you buy LED bulbs nowadays, and in that episode, I do get into the difference between LEDs and what we have been used to with like incandescent lights. But when you buy these LED bulbs now, a lot of them are even adjustable on the bulb. You'll see that on the packaging, it'll show that it's adjustable. And so you can set it at the warmer temperature, or you can set it at the cooler temperature. If that's your deal, then, you do you. But I set all of mine at 2700 because, I just love it. And if I had light bulbs like that in my garage, I would set them at 2700. However, generally speaking, from a functional purpose, in a garage, you would probably set them at the higher number and have more of that blue light because you do want it to be lit up even more.
I am set back in the I don't know, set back in time, I guess, because I don't have any of those. I didn't know you could adjust light bulbs like for your residential spaces.
So it is, I don't know what bulb specifically it is, but it's the ones that, it's my can lights in my kitchen, the bigger
and
lights.
The bulb is actually...
Yes. So now when you buy them, and I think there are some that are not adjustable and you're buying them at the specific temperature, but there are others that are adjustable. I don't know if it adds cost to it or not.
I'm going to have to tune into your lighting segment.
Yes.
Because obviously I don't know anything about it.
Another thing we haven't mentioned as well is using dimmers. And I think you were going to get into that as well. If you are redoing electric in your house, it is pretty standard. I know it is with the trades that I work with on projects. They always add dimmers. I always have them add dimmers. And then you have select scenes, they call them, where you can like set it. You have like 3 different options, I think, typically. So you could have that like cozy, I'm home alone with a glass of wine and I want it to be chill. And then you can have the, light the whole space up, like it's the 4th of July setting
Right.
for whatever task you're doing. But you can preset those and then just click the button and you have that setting right there at your fingertips. But it gives you so many more options with all the same fixtures and bulbs.
Correct. Yeah. I love a dimmer. It gives you, like you said, whether it's game night or Christmas Eve dinner, you definitely want to create a mood. And that's one place that if it's already integrated into the space, it's an easy change to make.
Absolutely.
Well worth the money.
Now let's talk about scale and proportion. So this is the silent offender. So this is very, very common. And it's furniture that's too big or too small for a room. So this could be the area rug that is too small. Very, very common. Rugs are expensive. And so if you have that space where you really do need that bigger rug, that 10 by 12, or, those prices start to like creep up a lot more, right? Than the smaller 8 by 10, or even getting smaller than that. That area rug needs to contain that entire sitting area. It's not meant to just go under a coffee table.
It's an anchor of the space.
Yes.
Anchoring all of the furniture or
Yes.
pieces within a room, not just one in particular, or just not to dust off your shoes.
Right, right. It's not a walk-off mat.
It's not a walk-off mat.
So it should sit underneath your sofa, your chairs. Furniture that's too big, sectionals are like the prime.
Ginormous. Absolutely ginormous.
Yeah.
I feel like ours is it seems like it's 20 feet long. So, but of course,
And some rooms are big enough for it.
some are big enough. It's not necessarily an excuse to have a sectional, but it's functional, especially for families.
Right.
So I agree. And to your point with expensive rugs, as you dial up on the sizes, it does creep up. Maybe change and find another pattern or an alternate rug so you can get a little bit more square
Coverage.
footage,
Yeah.
coverage versus something smaller. Maybe you can add that to your list later on.
Yeah,
A goal,
right.
rug goals.
Yeah, but it totally changes the room.
It does.
It
I
makes
agree.
a huge difference because the proportions matter. There's a reason why these things work the way they do. It's not just because it's a subjective opinion.
Agree. And an underlying pattern of a rug adds a bit of design detail that you don't necessarily see right off, but it just warms up a space. Makes it a little more cozy.
So some of the ways that you at home, who of course you don't necessarily have floor plans to work off of like we do as designers when we're doing space planning for furniture or area rugs or anything like that, but you could use painter's tape to map out the floor plans in your actual room. So whether it is the rug or a big sectional or a sofa, to see how much space that's really going to take up. And I would say, generally speaking, to look at something flat like that laying on your floor, just imagine it's going to look bigger. Because when you get the height and, the volume of a piece of furniture, it's going to take up a lot more room than you imagine it's going to.
Agree. And speaking to that, talking about the scale and proportion, the size of your furniture as well. I think a misconception is most people think a small space, we need really teeny tiny furniture or smaller pieces. But I think it's just the opposite in
Right.
a lot of ways. Having a larger piece that anchors the space and then adding in touches of smaller pieces
Exactly.
would be appropriate.
Right.
Again,
Yeah, because just filling it with like teeny, like small pieces only exaggerates the smallness of everything.
Makes it feel cluttered and overwhelming. So and we're all guilty of this.
Yeah. Yeah. Again, no judgment.
Live and learn.
Yeah. Investing in scale appropriate pieces, even if it means waiting longer, it's when you can make that investment well worth it. And then opting for fewer right size pieces instead of crowding the room. Do not crowd the room. That's probably the worst thing that you can do. The final element we're going to talk about here before we get to our top 5 is art that is hung too high or too low. I've seen it both ways. I don't understand how this happens. I've naturally always like been able to just see what's appropriate.
Well, I
like
think that's a design principle too that we're kind of taught. Your
Yeah.
sight lines,
Yeah.
whether it be in residential, retail, whatever it is, we're taught to pay attention to the sight line. Whereas that might not be number one priority. And so you just hang it high, right? Because you don't want anybody to bump up against it or to fall off the wall.
Right. Or if you're not average height, hanging it too low, like you're hanging it at your eye level, which then, and when I say not very tall, so let's say like 5'8", because I am taller, but it doesn't matter. If you're like 5'8" or less and you're hanging it at your eye level, it's probably too low.
Well, and it leaves a lot of real estate above that's
Yeah.
empty.
Things should not be hung halfway up your wall, assuming your walls are, 8 feet or 9 feet tall. And it's got to be centered as well with the furniture. Like if it is a specific little vignette that you have and it's set right above a piece of furniture, that has to, all play well together. So this isn't always a cut and dry standard, but typically you're hanging artwork 60 inches from the floor, and that would be the average eye level at the center of the frame, the artwork, whatever it is that you're hanging. But again, if it's above something or there's more going on, then, it is going to be anchored somewhat to whatever piece of furniture, what you have going on in front of it.
And a great way to anchor pieces, too, if you don't really have an actual piece of furniture or something below it, is to do clusters or a grouping of. And then that's kind of where you get in those gray lines of going above and below
Yes.
that eye level place.
Which can be done, right? When you
can be
do
done.
have, the like 4 hanging vertically together or a whole gallery wall. So these rules can be broken, but there's still rules to go with those.
We don't approve.
Exactly. So gallery walls are another option here that can go awry quickly, especially I think going upstairs. That can get out of scale and at wonky heights and just messy. So I think going upstairs is a very particular and difficult thing to do. I don't know that I would just recommend that for anybody to figure out on their own.
The distance too, like things can be maybe too close or too far apart. But then again, I've seen, I don't know if you would consider gallery walls trends, but one where the frames are actually touching, and actually I really like it.
Yes.
Especially I have a collection of prints from my dad, and they're Paul Sawyer, so they're local, could be considered a little, I don't know, kitschy or whatever around here. But putting those all together, I think would be a cool presentation. You keep your, collectibles in one place.
Right.
And it has a bigger impact
Absolutely.
on the space, especially if it's personal.
Totally.
So
Yeah, those look great. And even really small ones, I've seen hung right next to each other like that. I think typically 1 inch to 2 inches max is recommended between the frames in a gallery wall. But again, there's so many variables to this. So, the size of your frames, the size of your, like the width actually of, the frame itself, or how much white space exists in each frame, like with the matting and things like that, I think can make a difference as well. Or how high your ceilings are, how much overall space you're dealing with on the wall. All the details.
And we've probably broken every single rule
Absolutely.
that we have
I'd start with
categorized as
even hanging. Yeah. I'd start with even hanging things level. Like that alone is difficult enough. So
Agree. There are exceptions, but there are also ways to overcome all of those maybe what you would consider mistakes.
Yes.
And actually make them work. Because if that's your style,
absolutely.
that has something to say about itself.
Right. Totally.
So.
again, you do you.
You do you. No judgment.
Yeah. Another aspect to work in is mixing in unexpected pieces. So that can be not just framed art, but framed textiles, scarves. I think I've mentioned before on an episode, I have a framed silk escape map from World War II from my grandfather that's framed, or, it could be an Aramis scarf that is framed. Mirrors, I don't know. I mean, that's hit or miss. I wouldn't go nuts with that. But then, of course, objects as well, smaller objects like hanging plates on walls. That's back this whole grand millennial situation, and reincorporating your grandmother's style into your home, but in a way that's still really stylish and up to date. So you could hang all manner of different things on your walls.
Unconventional objects.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be in shadow boxes. Don't do anything that's too deep of a frame, but things that are still really art-worthy looking.
And one thing that I've seen, I've probably seen it in a magazine, or maybe in a local store, but using even brooches or jewelry and somehow mounting that on a textile and then having a nice frame.
Ooh, I love that idea.
Something along those lines. And talking about the plates, I do have 2 of my mom's china plates that she received when she was growing up. So they'll be handed down to me eventually, but that is a piece of art, and it's personal. Again, it comes back to it being personal. If there's a story and it's personal, you can make it make sense.
And what a great thing, because nobody uses china anymore, right?
No.
I don't know how many sets I have that I inherited from different people in the family, and it all is stored, and
because it's hand washed,
right?
It
Which
does not
that's
go in
insane.
the dishwasher.
And I'd be mad if somebody broke it.
Yes.
Namely me handling it. And so why take that risk? Yeah. But so to turn it into art is such a just, I don't know. I think that's a great idea.
Smart.
Yes.
Especially so you can enjoy it. Because isn't that the whole point of design, is to actually enjoy it and show off what you love?
Exactly. Art makes a house feel finished and personal. So whether it is china or jewelry or accessories like scarves, it can all be turned into art. All right, so let's get into the top 5 mistakes that really make us cringe.
Can't wait.
I know. And again, if this is you, we love you. And this is not meant to be judgmental or for you to take offense. And if you love these things, then, that is absolutely fine. It is your home. So you run with it and love it.
Quite honestly, I might have some of these mistakes.
Right. We've committed some of these, actually.
Committed and still
now,
committing.
Yeah, I do have that. So I will admit to that. Okay, but my first one, and we may have some that overlap, which will be interesting. We don't know what each of us have listed. So my first one is using word art. Lord.
Like along with picture or a month, or just like the collaboration of different pictures within the word?
I'm going to go with, I'll give a little grace on some picture frames that have some things written on them, maybe, but I would also put those in the basement or in, more away places. I do have some of those, by the way. So again,
less visible.
Yes. But I'm really thinking of the signs at the front door that say welcome.
Yes.
I'm thinking of the wooden art that they sell at Hobby Lobby
Bless your
says gather. Bless your heart.
Yeah.
Bless your heart for buying it. Please don't do it. Just don't. Or family, or even the individual letters where you can spell out things. Aside from if your child must have their name spelled out in their room with letters, like, I get it. That's whatever. That's fine. And that can be done cutely for small children. Other than that, let's not do it.
And I will say there's some clever word art No excuse for it, but I do enjoy seeing it and reading it. And if somebody else has it, good for you. Again, you do you. But I would agree with you, just as a general rule of thumb.
Yeah, we don't need your rooms labeled.
No.
Everybody knows where they are.
They know what a bathroom is.
Yeah, exactly.
The kitchen.
Yep. So let's let them know what the room is and what to do in it based on the actual design. It doesn't have to be spoken out loud or written on your wall.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the next mistake I have on my list that makes me cringe, and I've done this before in the past, I promise, but using an accent color on one wall of a room.
Let me guess what color. Was it burgundy?
No.
859 green?
No.
Or what Mr. Rothgab used to say, it was 606.
Oh my God, we're so old.
The area code has changed.
Yes. Mr. Rothgab was one of our professors in interior design school, by the way.
Favorite color is purple.
Oh, yes, that's right. So this accent color situation, this also reminds me back to my commercial design days when, I remember there was one job we were doing and there was an office in the space and the client had requested Kentucky blue on the wall, which
a bold statement.
It is a very bold statement. And I mean, listen, go Cats.
Right.
I am alum.
We bleed
twice
blue.
over, teach there,
Just
and
don't
my
bleed on
son's
your
a
wall.
student there. But yeah, that color should not be on your wall. Not at all. Let it be pop out, in here and there in a little something or another. We do not paint walls.
It's harsh.
Yeah,
It's just harsh.
It's way too much. Tennessee orange would be even worse, but we won't
for so many reasons.
Right. This could also be done with different textures too. So, I mean, this could be done with a wallpaper. It's the same kind of principle for wallpaper in that don't wallpaper just one wall of a room. I think ideally that's not what we want to do. And I will say, I'm sure that there are different examples where this can work. There are going to be outliers to this because it's pretty broad. But generally speaking, in a normal 4-wall living room or bedroom or office or whatever it is, we want to paint the whole thing, all the walls the same color. If you want an accent color, put it on the ceiling.
I agree with that. I do think you could make it work if the background of your wallpaper is very similar to the one you already have on the wall. So it's more of a subtle transition than something so in your face.
Right.
I think, speaking to accessories, let those kind of transition you through the space.
Yes. So that's got to be done delicately, those mistakes, or I'm sorry, those types of designs. Okay. So my number 3 item of things that make me cringe, too many tchotchkes. I think this is just based on also how I grew up, but not everybody, but a lot of us collect things, let's say. So whether you grew up with a mother that collected Longaberger baskets.
Oh, yes. Precious Moments was my cup of tea.
Precious Moments, yes. What else is there? I don't know.
I stated that I loved elephants when I was younger, and I have a whole slew of elephants. So
yeah, makes gifting easy.
Knickknacks.
Yeah, makes decorating very difficult.
I'm actually in the process of trying to minimalize extra stuff because you have things that are memorable, right?
Of course.
You also have things that you have just picked up because you thought was cute.
Right.
Or you liked it at one point and then you feel bad giving it away.
Right.
So minimizing and going with a bigger statement,
yes,
more or less.
Yes. Has a much bigger impact.
Agree. I'm going to need your help. I'll need your help with going through tchotchkes.
Oh.
Decluttering.
I'm pretty ruthless when it comes to throwing stuff away.
I'm getting better at it. Yeah.
So this really, that you have too much if the surface, number one, if you avoid dusting because it's so much work, because you have so much to move around to dust underneath it, and then you have to dust those little items and put it all back. That means you probably have too much. And the surface of any of your furniture, whether or it's a bookcase or shelf or whatever it is, it should not have like 10 little things on it. That is too much. So it's taking, maybe 2 or 3 of those things, grouping them together on top of some coffee table books that are stacked there, or, it's like putting a little vignette together. But you really don't want, I think, just generally speaking, again, more than 2 or 3 of those things, they are grouped together.
And going back to the whole principle of interior design is to create a space where you're comfortable and you feel good, relaxed, whatever that might be. And having more and more stuff there goes back to what you were saying, cleaning. It's a lot more time.
Absolutely.
And you're going to avoid it at all costs, which,
Yeah.
I do
the
often.
space just very easily will look cluttered. Even though you've collected all these things, it doesn't mean that they all have to be out there to look at constantly. I just think that that can be overwhelming in a space.
Find a new creative way to display.
Exactly. And if you can't, then it might be time to clean them out.
Say farewell.
Yeah. Say your goodbyes. All right. So the next thing, and I am guilty of this, but I have a story about it actually, is high water drapes. Okay. So this comes into play, I think. This is my situation. When you have like store-bought retail, cheaper drapes, and they come in, of course, very standard sizes. And you always, okay, I'm not going to say always, but typically we want to hang drapes, hang that curtain rod as high as possible in a room because it makes the room seem taller. And in doing that, you can end up in situations where you have those standard height drapes that now do not reach your floor.
Because let's just be honest, once you get the rod up there, having to take it down and then fill in holes to move it down or up to make your drapes fall or puddle.
Yes.
It's just too damn hard. It's
Well,
too much work.
But I don't want it down. So then put furniture in front of it.
Yes.
And hide it. And so this is my situation actually. In my bedroom, I have the rod all the way up at the ceiling, but I actually do have just retail standard height drapes in there right now, which are too short. They're probably, I don't know, maybe a foot off the ground. But I have larger, like nightstand type tables that sit in front of the furniture. And so you don't see any of that going on behind the scenes.
Right.
So it hides it. So if you have that situation, hide it.
Put something in front of it.
Yeah. And that's a great way to, you're going with the more affordable drape option and yet still giving that extra height to your room. It's just a win-win. But do not leave that exposed.
100%.
Yes.
Take your drapes to the ceiling.
Yes. All right. My final mistake that makes me cringe, and this is something that is very simple for anyone to address, is painting ceilings white. Let me explain this a little more. In commercial design, oftentimes when you are selecting paint finishes, you will select or write ceiling white on the finish schedule, which just tells the contractors then that they are to pick the white purest paint that exists, and they're putting it on. So you're not actually specifying a real color. Like when you walk into, a paint showroom and you have all the swatches, and of course there's like 5 gazillion different versions of white that you could find. So this really just leaves it open to them, but it tells them the absolute pure absence of color white. That's what you're putting on the ceiling.
You're going with the stock white.
Exactly. So people do this, builders do this, people do this in their homes. And, for the longest time, we always had white ceilings. As we've gotten to this place where we have started painting ceilings colors, whether it's the exact same color as what's on the walls, Or I often like to go 2 values lighter than what I put on the walls. Then it adds just so much more to a room. But I would say if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to put color on your ceiling, you don't have to at all. But you don't have to go with stock white. So get a warmer white, or, just a white that's tinted more towards the color of your walls, maybe something different. Just absolutely avoid stock white.
And all of these points that we're kind of talking about and, laughing about, but we also share probably some of these things in our own home. The point is to get to that level of refinement. Those are just little tweaks that you can take along, like the color of your ceiling, to make it look escalated, elevated, so to speak.
Yes. It's a quick fix that is very simple. You can do it yourself. You don't need, a professional interior designer helping you make those, and instantly you have totally changed your space.
Talking about the wall colors and going a shade or two lighter or darker. These are just subtle changes that you won't notice, overly notice, but will add a bit of character and
refinement
really to your space.
Right. It's not the thing that, somebody's going to walk into your house and comment on or instantly notice, but it's the things that you feel when you're in the space.
Agree.
There's a difference. It's just like being in a space, having nothing but overhead fluorescent lighting on versus being in a space with that ambient task lighting and some accent lighting thrown in there, and that warm glow that makes you calmer and cozier.
It's an unspoken
accent, unspoken elegance.
Unspoken.
No pun intended with our word art.
No pun intended. Don't put that on a piece of wood and hang it up.
Okay, so what are your 5 cringeworthy?
Well, so
mistakes?
I wish I'd been cringier, and I can find the cringe within each one of these, because it kind of goes back to what we were talking about before initially. Like the form over function was the first one, picking things that you think are pretty but then don't function for your space.
Right.
Like the chair that you think is adorable, but maybe it's too small.
Yes.
Or you fall in it, or you have to catapult yourself out.
Right.
Or it's not comfortable. So considering those things and how you use the space, like you had talked about, do you want somebody to come in and cozy up, watch a movie, have a cup of coffee, or do you want a short visit?
Right.
Leave by 9.
Yeah. Like I am going to put a very uncomfortable chair in my living room, and that's exactly where I'm going to tell my guests they can sit so that they're out in another hour.
Yes, I'm tired. This is where we're sitting tonight up front.
We should get home now.
Yeah. Yes. See you later. So that was my first design mistake, so to speak. But like I said, you kind of covered that in one of your first points that we talked about.
Something else that's interesting as I think about that too is that often comes up with my clients is with, married couples or just 2 different people living in a home and sharing a home, added to the fact when you have, grown children or teenage children, that you're different sizes. And so then you're having to select furniture, or especially a sofa where multiple people need to sit on it. And you're dealing with a 6'5" person and a 5'5" person. And it's a totally different experience, right? So you've got somebody whose feet aren't touching the ground and somebody who is like not comfortable at all.
Agreed.
And their knees are up on their chest when they sit down. So these kind of details too are something big that we at Ashley Morgan Interiors pay attention to as we go into that design process and making selections so that everybody is comfortable, or we have a happy medium, or they're, it's kind of a mix and match. And so, the sofa is where he sits and wants to sit and is comfortable. And then there's chairs that she prefers and are comfortable for her.
I'm thinking of my grandmother. She's so short. And when you go to her house, everything is so petite.
Oh.
And it fits her. I guess interior design, it's very subjective
Well, of course.
because you have to design a space that's comfortable.
Right. And it's
suits you.
so personal, obviously.
Very personal.
It's the most personal.
Agree.
Yeah.
My next one is harsh lighting. And we've talked extensively about this and selecting different lighting for different spaces.
Right.
But, having a space that you have the light, natural light versus task lighting, and you were saying ambient lighting as well. Giving those options adds to the functionality of your space.
Yeah. And even in those spaces too. So if you have a room that's not big enough to have tables in it, like enough tables to have so that you have places to sit lamps on, then you can get floor lamps. Just get one lamp or two lamps, however many you can fit into the space. I really don't know that you can have too many lamps. Or, of course, like we mentioned, looking at cordless sconces that are everywhere now, or picture lights, different things that can add that accent lighting.
Well, going back to function, my ginormous sectional,
Yes.
of course, it takes up any space that it could be flanked with
Yes.
a side table. So we have two large that kind of overarch. So you still have that light. And I agree with you. The more lights, the better. Dimmers, yes.
Absolutely.
So my third one is scale. Considering your room, we talked about small spaces and using small pieces, making it look cluttered and overwhelming. More or less utilizing the height of a room, whether that's incorporating built-ins
Yes.
or maybe even trim work that adds detail, and choosing appropriate sizes or scaled items for what you actually
Right. We talked about sectionals being a very common culprit of scale issues in rooms. Another one, though, that's probably frequently done is beds, that bed frames and like heights of beds that are too big for bedrooms now. I think probably in your average home, the bedrooms are not big enough to handle like big wooden headboards with, post and possibly a canopy bed. I don't know. But details like that, the furniture that used to exist, if you still have that, because that is bigger scale, that can completely overwhelm a bedroom. And the bedroom being the most important place for where you need calm and to feel at peace, right? And so all that clutter and that fullness of the wrong scaled bedroom furniture can be a really detrimental issue in a bedroom.
And it's all about reaching that balance too, which I guess can be harder for some people than others. But especially if you have a big piece like that in a relatively small space, using other maybe larger pieces to balance it out on one side of the space or just again to achieve some sort of a balance.
Right. And then another option too in smaller bedrooms specifically would be you don't have to have that big wooden bed. If you're willing to either part with it or store it or move it elsewhere, it can be pretty affordable to just use a bed frame, just like the basic bed frame that holds your any furniture store for that matter, that holds your box spring and mattress, and then put a bed skirt and all the things around that, and then you can get just the upholstered headboard to use, and those come in all different scales and sizes as well, and so you don't have 4 giant posts in a smaller size bedroom. Okay, so what's your next one?
Function and accessibility. Too much clutter in a space where you can't even move around.
Right.
And this goes kind of in my field too with retail. You want to have that circulation space.
Right.
You want it to function with you and for you.
Yes.
So when you have things on top of each other, which I am completely guilty of tripping over an ottoman because really there's not adequate space in my space for that.
Right.
So that would be one of the things. Minimize it and try to have that in mind when you create your space and put things in a space or you're buying things for your space.
I think it's always helpful to kind of paint the picture of these like design principles and how they actually play out in spaces where everyone visits. And so the analogy, I guess you would say, for this example is you go into a store, let's say like I'm trying to think of like the worst offenders of this. And I think maybe like a Plato's Closet type, what do you call that? Like consignment store.
Yes.
Which, not every consignment store is like
Gift
this
shops
at
are
all.
notorious for this when we're talking about circulation.
If you can't, or it's like an outlet store, any sort of like discounted price store where they put as many clothing racks in such a small space as possible, and you're like bumping into people to try to walk between racks. The clothing is just stuffed onto the racks. You pull one hanger off and like it just creates a whole disaster of a situation. You would never find that exact situation in a high-end retail store where everything's going to be more spread out. There is going to be plenty of real estate for you to walk around and see things at a distance, and room for you to, move, interact with clothing or whatever it is that you're shopping for.
Quality over quantity.
Exactly. And so that is, again, an analogy for residential design as well. You do not want your home to be that consignment store example. You want less things.
Less is more.
Yes, so that it does absolutely elevate the space.
Well, again, I don't know if it's podcast worthy, but stalls, public restrooms. And I don't know if this is a men thing too, or just women, but when you go into a stall to go to the restroom, which half the time you don't want to be in there anyway, and you use the facility ready to exit, and you can not open up the door to exit without sitting back on the toilet.
And having to touch the toilet.
And having to touch
Yes, especially in an airport where you're pulling your bag in as well, and the doors are open, swinging in.
And God forbid they don't have a hook.
Right.
But yes,
right.
all the things. So
Yes.
talking about that space and the circulation, I think it does so much for your emotional
Absolutely. I mean, and there's a difference, right? We've all been in bathrooms that we enjoy. I mean, there's literally a business plan around this, and it's called Buc-ee's. And everybody wants to visit a Buc-ee's because exactly. And then, of course, where do they put their bathrooms? In the back of the store. Bathrooms are huge. Public bathrooms are huge example, I think, of space planning as well. And of course, there's laws around this for ADA and accessibility.
So I thought, and I don't know where those laws fall on smaller partitioned bathrooms.
They only have to have a percentage. Yeah.
Anywho.
So you would have ambulatory and ADA, and then the rest of them, you're like, good luck.
That's a bigger mistake on our mistake list. That's more, relevant in the world, I guess.
Yeah.
Important.
But there are plenty of examples where the door swing comes in and it actually hits the toilet. Yeah. And that's less than ideal. And that's just because it's an afterthought, and they've run out of square footage as they get into their planning.
So number 5 on my list, a lack of one's own personality within a space.
Yeah, no, that's a great one.
Like you're going into a generic hotel room or a lobby. There's just no personalization to the space.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Yes. Like
this reminds me of like the hotel chains are key for this, and that's from, I think, more of an economical standpoint, of course.
Again, like some of those are beautiful and more elegant than some of the spaces that I have within my own home.
Yeah. Well, I don't know.
but personality.
But it makes me think of, for the longest time, I'm a Marriott girl. And so I would stay at a Courtyard. If you go into a Courtyard in one city and then you go across the country to another city and you're staying in the exact same Courtyard, right? And you wake up and you're like, I have no idea where I am because it all looks the same. That's defeating. And I mean, of course, like I just mentioned, there's reasons that they do that from a business perspective. I get it. It just stinks from a design perspective. And and it's more fun. They'll incorporate more personalized art for the location that they're at, but you slap some art of a couple horses on the wall and say you're in Kentucky, and that's all you get.
Right. And generic can be great, but it is nice to have a space that speaks to who you are or what you love.
Yeah, don't just have the things that the tchotchkes that everyone else is buying from the same stores, whether it is word art from Hobby Lobby or it's, I don't know, something much more elegant and high end. But if it's the same stuff that everyone else has and you have nothing else mixed in that's unique to you, you're missing a great opportunity.
Agree. And speaking to this, people have even gone further, hotels and retail establishments using scent machines.
Right.
It goes beyond just the visual of it. It's a smell.
Yes.
And we certainly
Yeah.
want
Yeah.
a good scent.
Absolutely.
A visual when someone steps into
Well, it's
our
all five
space.
senses, right?
Yes.
You're going to appeal to that. And that's used commercially all the time. And restaurants pumping out even the smell of their kitchens, right? Like that's how they're drawing you
You're
in.
branding yourself.
Absolutely. And so you can do that residentially too. I know that there are even scent machines out there for that mimic the exact scents that different hotels and retailers use. So that's a great one. And I think that's one of the first things that people probably notice when they do enter your home.
Probably. Maybe we should have touched on that first.
Yeah.
It's a must do.
Yeah. Thank God I don't think I really experienced that as, a problem too often. Okay, Alexis, as we wrap up this episode, I want to ask you just some off the wall types of questions before we end. So the first one is going to be, what's your favorite item in your own home?
Favorite item in my own home. It would have to be something, probably an antique that's been passed down. I do have boxes that were my dad's. They're wooden boxes with the corner embellishments and the latches. They're relatively large, so they can serve stacked as like a table.
Oh, neat.
Or also storage.
Right.
I'd say those are some of my favorite items. Versatile, there's not a lot of detail to them, just a beautiful wood finish.
Right. Okay, then what is your favorite design that you've ever created? So outside of your own home, whether it is, commercially or on a project, and why was it your favorite?
I would say I love residential design, but I haven't had the privilege of working on as many as I have retail. So retail, the most memorable and my favorite would probably be the Aquarium of the Pacific out in Newport. And we actually received an award for one of the fixtures in there as a focal point. But the outer part of the retail space was a kelp wall. So it was translucent glass, but it had actual underwater photos taken, blown up, and put around the perimeter, which was really, really cool.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, it's still out there.
Oh,
So that's probably my favorite.
awesome. Okay, and then finally, do you have a favorite design quote?
Oh, I do.
Okay.
When I was visiting, I actually did a designer weekend at the Greenbrier.
Oh, you did. I've wanted to do one of those.
I would highly recommend it, and I would do it again. But Dorothy Draper, the designer basically for that, she said, I always put in one controversial item. It makes people talk.
Oh, I love that.
Which I walked away, and I've used it ever since because it does. It
Yes.
adds conversation and interaction within a space.
Yes, that's
And
great.
It's fun. So
That's the perfect quote. Love it. Okay, well, thank you, Alexis, for
Thank you.
coming today and being a part of the podcast. And I know that everyone, I'm sure, will love to hear you again. We'll have to have you back.
well, thank you, Ashley.
If you're making any of these design mistakes, do not stress. The good news is that most of them are fixable without a full renovation. I hope today's episode gave you a few light bulb moments for your own home. And if you loved it, be sure to follow me over on Instagram at Ashley Morgan Interiors and Charm and Circumstance. And if you want more tips and project reveals, sign up for my monthly newsletter. It's called The Monthly Install. It hits inboxes on the 15th of every month, and it's packed with ideas, resources, and behind the scenes insight. You'll definitely not want to miss those newsletters. You can sign up at the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep it beautiful, friend. Thanks for joining me on Charm and Circumstance. Be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and follow along on Instagram, because charm is personal and circumstance is what you make of it.